Are you a creative that really doesn't like public speaking and you're afraid to pitch and sell your ideas? Well, I know what that's like because that was me for the first few years of my career. And now I've gone on to pitch some of the biggest brands in the world. And what I want to do is share a few things that have worked for me on how you can fight for yourself to sell your ideas and crush presentations. So first things first, does every presentation you're in feel like this? You're sort of like in the middle of this gauntlet and it's completely scary and it's overwhelming. I know what that feels like. Terrifying. As an introvert myself, I've wrestled hard with how do I present myself? How do I present my ideas? Because the work, no matter how good it is, doesn't all speak for itself. So what I want to do today is sort of help you map this sort of realm of Middle Earth and figure out how you can find the answers that you seek. So first thing you need to know is that every presentation is a story. Your ability to tell that story is going to make the difference between if someone believes you or not. So I love this page out of a great book called Resonate, which is an incredible book on storytelling. And what Nancy Duart, the author, talks about is how every story is not just a beginning, middle, and an end, but rather they take you through what is, what could be, what is, what could be, and then they give you that payoff. And this could be like a hook for a TikTok that you're making. It could be a pitch for a new brand or an idea. I use this story structure for so many of the things that I'm doing. So if you're looking to understand how to master presentations, what Nancy Duart talks a lot about in her book Resonate is this idea of finding a star moment, something that they'll all remember. So what's that star moment in your TikTok, in your Instagram, in your pitch, something that they're all going to remember? These are three of the best books, in my opinion, if you're looking to be better at presenting, persuading, and pitching ideas. One, this book, Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff, and then two of Nancy's sort of seminal titles, Resonate or Slideology. Really, really important. So the first thing you have to remember is that every single presentation you're giving is a sale. And if you know and you go into that just accepting that, you're going to have a much higher chance of winning. And I fought that for years. I used to hate selling myself. As a designer and a developer, I just wanted to make cool shit for the internet. But the reality is, if people aren't buying that cool shit you're making, it doesn't see the light of day. And if your ideas aren't seeing the light of day, they're dying on the vine. And that's not helpful for anybody. So love or hate it, the ideas that you have will never see the light of day if people don't buy them. So how do you sell your work? Well, when I think about selling work, I focus on the 3 C's: confidence, comprehension, and conviction. You got to have those things, in my opinion, because that's going to make someone buy into the concept that you have, whatever it might be. So let's break down confidence for a second. As much as people buy ideas, they buy you first. Bottom line. So what I think a lot of times is we're giving so many presentations digitally now. Still, there's a lot of face-to-face meetings that happen, but stand tall or sit tall if you're sitting like me right now in a chair. Never slump over. Body language is really important, even if you're on a Zoom or a Google Meet call. Second is have a unique point of view. Don't say the same exact thing that everybody else is saying. Stay grounded in truth, but be original with your ideas. And then understand that you have to have a firm belief. And if you don't believe it, they're not going to believe it. So make sure anything you're pitching, you've got a sense of confidence and belief in yourself, because if you don't, they're not going to buy it. Next is comprehension. You've got to understand someone's business. You have to understand what their why is. And if you don't know the answer, always ask. Ask questions to them as to how are they different from an industry perspective. No matter who you're pitching, if you understand what makes them different, what makes them better, you can tell that story. Understand the customer. What are the pains, gains, and things that people aren't saying out loud, but you can find. One of my favorite things to do is go on and read reviews of my competitors. Find out what people love about their product. Find out what people hate about their product. So digging into the customer. Then last but not least is you have to understand business model. You got to understand the competition and those forces. So conviction. If you don't believe it, they're not going to believe it either. So what I always suggest is only present informed ideas that target the agreed upon problem. When you're engaging with someone, even if it's in a digital context, maintain eye contact. Make sure you don't appear distracted, because you're going to capture their attention a lot more if you're being engaging. Be bold, but not desperate. So the attitude that you show up really makes a huge difference in your ability to be convicted about a particular idea. And then trust your instincts, right? Like understand your intuition. Like how does it make you feel like in your gut? Believe it or not, there's actually neurons in our gut. And those neurons that make you feel a certain way is your body telling you something's right or something's wrong. And I'm not talking about being nervous, because believe me, as an introvert, I used to be so nervous when I was giving presentations. So trust your instincts. So where to now? Popping open the GPS. I'm a big Fallout fan, so a little Fallout throwback here. First and foremost, do your homework. Do not expect things to come to you, and then always be experimenting and trying new things. So what I like to do when I'm setting up a presentation is I like to sort of first create a setup, then I go into the idea, and then I take people through how to overcome those objections. So I'm going to take you through those 4 steps here. So the first thing is validate. That's going to help you demonstrate your comprehension of the particular idea. So framing and reframing the problem, digging into the data, making sure you understand the consumer audience, really Googling a lot of shit before you do that. That's going to set it up. And I'm going to give you some examples of what that looks like. And if you're looking for more examples of this, just shoot me a follow and subscribe, because I'm going to be posting content like this a lot more. This is the year I'm putting myself out there, and I would love for you to be on that journey with me. So please comment, like, subscribe, tell me the questions that you have so that I can help. So once you've validated that idea, it's important that you go in and you demonstrate it. That's where you're demonstrating your confidence, and that's where you're bringing to life your stance, your original point of view, and do it with a little bit of swagger, do it with a little bit of charisma and optimism. Don't be afraid to shoot your shot, and believe in yourself, because like I said, if you don't believe in the idea, nobody else is going to. And then from there, it's about validating that idea and making sure that you've got the comprehension, showing the person that you're presenting to or the group of people you're presenting to, why is your idea going to succeed? Showing them that you've got knowledge of their business and you understand the competition and you understand the idea. It's really, really important. And then last but not least is, how do you answer the bell? How do you overcome those objections when people are asking questions? You have to show that conviction, you have to show that comprehension, and you have to demonstrate that confidence. So this is the 4 steps that I like to do to make sure, like when I'm going through and testing my ideas or thinking about a pitch, making sure I've got that set up, I've got that big why, and I'm framing it with data wherever possible, making sure when I'm demonstrating the what, I'm showing people what the idea is and why it's going to work for them because I understand their business. And last but not least is getting ready to overcome those objections. So now it's time to put your armor on. Now it's time to enter the arena, because make no mistake about it, you're going to get beat up. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get your ass kicked. And that's okay, because you're going to get stronger every single time it happens. So a lot of folks come to me and they say, like, I'm afraid to put myself out there, Pete. Like, what do I do? Only way to know what success feels like is to feel failure tons of times. Think about trying to get in shape and going to the gym. You don't go to the gym once or twice and just all of a sudden get in really great shape. You got to do the reps. You got to have patience, and you got to keep doing it, because you're going to get beat up. It happens to the best of us, and you have to just not take it personally and just make it about the idea. Don't make it about yourself. Start thinking like a polymath. And what I mean by that is drawing on complex bodies of knowledge, right? I've just got a couple of books back here that I've read, but constantly crushing books, digging into YouTube videos like this one right here, digging into social media, asking lots of questions, having an unlimited supply of curiosity on so many different topics. That's going to help you think like a polymath. I love this quote: with 30 linear steps, you get to 30. With 30 linear steps, you get to 30. But with 30 steps exponentially, you get to 1 billion. So I love this quote from Ray Kurzweil. He's now doing a lot of work with Google, but he's just a total badass when it comes to being a futurist. And what he said years ago was, in 25 years, a computer as powerful as today's smartphone will be the size of a blood cell. The power and the speed that technology is growing is infinitesimal. So lean into telling a story that's not necessarily right on the nose or right forward. You got to kind of bob and weave back and forth. And that's what I'm talking about with this presentation. So what do you see here? It's not just a triangle. What this is how people process information. And you can probably relate this a little bit. Are you more visual? Does it take pictures to get you to understand something? Are you more auditory? Is it the sound of this conversation that's making you resonate with that? Or is it kinesthetic? Do you have to touch something and feel something and experiment with it? People tend to skew towards one of these points on the triangle, whether it's visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. And it's really important to understand how you learn and then how your audience learns. Because if you know how they learn, you can present your information in a way that's going to tackle their learning styles in a more meaningful way. What I like to do if I can't get to what someone's learning style is I like to just aim for the center and making sure that I'm tackling it in a visual way, I'm tackling it in an auditory way, and in a kinesthetic way. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. What this also is, huge fan of Zelda games. Again, I'm a student and a child of the 80s. So this idea of the Triforce in Zelda was like power, wisdom, and courage. I really think your Triforce is confidence, conviction, and comprehension. That's how you're going to crush your presentations. That's how you're going to get ideas that people say yes to. And just understand that self-knowledge, self-efficacy is your secret to success in the game of life. And if you don't know what self-efficacy is, there's this great quote from Albert Bandura where he says the belief in one's capabilities to organize and execute the courses of action required to manage prospective solutions and situations. Self-efficacy is your belief in your own abilities. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. So everything starts from self. And then I believe personally that self-efficacy adds up from effort to grit to your optimism that's what leads to self-actualization. So if you're not familiar with grit, grit is your ability to be resilient and resourceful and just fight through something and grow. And it's that ability, that combination of effort, doing the work, grit, not being afraid to keep going after you fail and make a mistake, and then optimism and keeping a positive mindset, a growth mindset. That's what leads to that self-actualization. That's what leads to that self-efficacy we talk about. And then a little Mortal Kombat quote, there's no knowledge that is not power. I love this quote. So how do you build on this foundation? Well, one of the books that changed my life when it comes to confidence is this book by the people who founded IDEO, Tom Kelly and David Kelly. The book is called Creative Confidence, and it's an incredible, incredible book. It transformed the way that I think about being confident as a creative, so I highly recommend it. The second book is this amazing book. I've got it up there. I use it all the time. It's called Value Proposition Design. It's a couple years old today, but it's still an incredible book. What it helped me understand is what are the building blocks of businesses. And the more I got that comprehension, the more I realized that's how I take things to the next level. And then conviction. One of the things that's really special about startup founders is that they believe something so much to be true. They manifest this vision that they have in their head into reality. This book, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, an incredible investor and a brilliant Silicon Valley entrepreneur, will break down the stories of the different people that have taken their businesses from 0 to 1, what that sort of escape curve looks like from a success perspective. So again, understanding how to master presentations. We talked about this earlier. It's about the story. It's about making sure whatever you're presenting has got that star moment. That's something they'll all remember. And I encourage you to dare mighty things, which is a Teddy Roosevelt quote that I absolutely love. And I encourage you to stay forward obsessed because you've got all the tools that you need. You've got a smartphone probably in your pocket if you're watching this, or a computer or an iPad or something. Tools today are not going to be the thing that's going to make you or break you. Your mindset's going to be the things that's going to make you or break you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I would really appreciate it if you got value from this. Share it with somebody, like and subscribe and comment. I'm on a mission to help creatives like you get the things that they want. Really, really appreciate you. Thanks so much.